What's up, everybody, and welcome to Read the Bible with me. I'm Stan Jr., and today we're looking at 2 Chronicles chapter 16. In this chapter, we're going to be discussing Asa's last days as king. He was a good king. And if you're new here, go ahead and click the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. And if you are a Bible Club member, thank you so much for supporting this ministry. Your gifts and donations allow us to send Bibles, buy them, and send them to persecuted Christians around the world, as well as help missionaries spread the gospel of Christ around the globe. So thank you first and foremost for that. And if you would click like on this video and leave a white flag in the comment section, I would appreciate that because it lets me know which Bible Club members are reading along with me. Let's look at chapter 16, verse 1. In the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might permit no one to go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa took silver and gold from the treasuries of the house of the Lord and the king's house and sent them to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, who lived in Damascus, saying, "There is a covenant between me and you. We have a deal, we have a promise, we have a contract, as there was between my father and your father. Behold, I am sending to you silver and gold. Go, break your covenant with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may withdraw from me." And Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa and sent the commanders of his armies against the cities of Israel, and they conquered Ijon, Dan, Abel, Maim, and all the store cities of Naphtali. So Asa was being held captive in a way by this other king of Israel, and he asked his friends for help. But what I liked about this, he still honored his friends' agreement. They came to his back. They came to help him out, but he still honored them by giving them silver and gold and saying thank you. So I thought that was cool, that friends honor each other. They don't just use each other, but they honor each other. And so he says, and in verse 5, "And when Baasha heard of it, he stopped building Ramah and let his work cease. Then King Asa took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and its timber, with which Baasha had been building. And with them he built Geba and Mizpah. At that time Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said to him, 'Because you relied on the king of Syria and did not rely on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Syria has escaped you.'" It's pretty clear there how important it is to rely on the Lord when it looks like you need to ask for help from your friends. And he went to his friends. I think the problem was he went to his friends before he went to God. God may have told him to ask his friends for help, but he went to them first. Your first actions are so important. The first thing you do when you get bad news, it shows you your dependence, who you depend on most. In verse 8 he says, "Were not the Ethiopians and the Libyans a huge army with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because you relied on the Lord, he gave them into your hand." He said, "They had more people than this guy, and you trusted me, and I gave them into your hand because you relied on me. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless toward him. You haven't done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars." Then Asa was angry with the seer and put him to the stocks in prison, for he was enraged with him because of his prophecy. and Asa inflicted cruelties upon some of the people at the same time. The acts of Asa from first to last are written in the book of the kings of Judah and of Israel. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa was deceased in his feet. He had a disease in his feet, and his disease became severe. Yet even in his disease, he did not seek the Lord, but sought help from physicians, from doctors. And Asa slept with his fathers, dying in the 41st year of his reign. They buried him in the tomb and that he had cut for himself. In the city of David. They laid him on a bier that had been filled with various kinds of spices prepared by the perfumer's art, and they made a very great fire in his honor. So towards the end of Asa's reign, he got off track. He started depending on others rather than depending on God. I pray that does not happen to me, and I pray it doesn't happen to you. That the older we get, we depend more on God, less on others. That we trust God more. That we rely on the power of God more the older we get. You know, the older you get, the closer you get to God. The older you get, the more intimate your relationship with God should get. Because when you finally close your eyes and don't wake back up here on earth, but you wake back in the presence of God, you can say, oh, that's how I thought you would be. And he would look at you and say, well done, good and faithful servant. Amen. Thank you so much for reading chapter 16 of the book of 2 Chronicles with me. I love you. If you'd like to become a Bible Club member, you can click the link in the description. If you just want to support one-time gift, you can go to RTBWM.org and buy a t-shirt like this. And you'll be able to support the ministry there. I love you. God bless you. Next time I read with you, we'll be reading chapter 17 of the book of 2 Chronicles. Peace.